A lot of it has to do with just focusing or like figuring out a way that works for you to paint eyes that
You're happy with?
you're happy with and that you can physically do, right? Like if you don't have the dexterity to like get in there and get a perfect little pupil, like put a little dot in there. Like something is generally better than nothing. The way that we typically do this, and you can watch the video for a full in-depth kind of
Rundown.
on how it works, but typically you are going to get a little bit you're going to base coat the eye in black, and then you're going to paint.
And that's the journey, like a lot of just shadow, basically.
Yeah, it's to define the eye with
Yep.
a black line, right? Like a dark line. And then you're going to paint it with like Menoth white highlights.
Yeah,
like
you're
an
gonna put like
off-white
a
color.
white ovalish thing in there
and
on the
you
eyeball.
don't want to use like natural white. And the reason why is your eye is not naturally
Yeah, just like your teeth aren't pearly white,
right.
actually.
Yeah. They always will have a little bit of discoloration to them. And like even what I'm doing now is I'm adding a little bit of like a pinkish color into the corners of the eyes.
We'll have to get a zoom in on these eyes after we're done here. Can probably be a pretty decent way to close out the show.
Yeah. Just to add a little bit more color variation, which is something that's a lot easier to do on larger scale models, obviously because the eyes are like 4 times as large as they are on smaller models. But adding a little bit of that like pinkish color into the corners adds more realism, because if you look at the corners of your eyes, there's always that exposed kind of redness there.
Yeah, you got a little bit of reddening always, kind
Yeah.
of the veins and stuff.
So adding that in there is a real good way to create more realism. And then what I do is I'm going to make her eyes like really blue, like a very vibrant blue.
Green. Oh wait, no, we're gonna have probably a green tint thing. Dang it! Because if we were gonna go red, I always like
Well, I'm
green eyes.
going
with
to use
red
this
hair.
like arcane blue that I've been using in the skin.
Okay.
Just because it just kind of pulls more of that color into other parts of the model. So I'm going to, let's see how I want to do this. So I'm going to create 2 different mixes of this color. I'm going to do a darker color on the outside to create a dark line around the iris, and then I'm going to fill it in with the brighter color. So I'm going in with a little bit of Bad Bruise here. And typically what you want to do is you want to paint the eye in the upper section of the eyeball and leave a little bit of exposed white.
Jordan, I'm going to come in.
underneath.
I'm going to try and get that camera a little tighter.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, not too bad. If you can pull it to the left just a little bit, that'll help.
Yeah, so you guys should be able to see the eyes pretty well there. And then I'm going to take this brighter color. And if you've ever looked at your iris, right, you've got a really dark, typically you'll have a darker line around the outside edge of the iris. And then you'll have the color of the pupil. And then you'll have a black dot in the middle of that, which is the very inside part of your eye. So,
Oh yeah, her eyes look like they're just glowy blue.
yeah. So
Not
this-
like unnaturally glowy, but just colorful.
yeah, very, very bright. Like, I tend to prefer to paint my eyes a little bit brighter.
Make them pop more.
Yeah, they just pop. Even if they look a little unnatural, I just kind of prefer that look. And there's two steps left, right? So the first one is to put in that very center dot, right? And pardon me if this is a little harder to see.
Inquisitor asks, how big is Jordan's palette? It looks huge. I legitimately think Jordan's palette is like 8 inches by 14 inches. Like, it's massive.
right.
Yeah, it's very big.
It's
And
definitely
this
more
is-
than 6 inches wide.
Yeah, and this, I think we want to put this up as a brush tip because this is a different way of painting eyes than the video that I posted with Dallas. That one is a little more straightforward and just getting. It has fewer steps in getting the eyes done. It is done on a 30 mil base model or on 28 mil.
Yeah, this is something that's a lot easier to do, and it's something that you really only can do in a larger scale model. So this is something, for instance, that you could do on the Totem Huntress or on our busts, for instance, or this model or future humanoid models for Monpok that are monsters, right? So this is just a really good example of how to paint eyes at a larger scale.